Now I have to warn you. What you're about to hear isn't normal. Viewer discretion is advised. This isn't just hidden truth. It's about silence, craving, and something older than rules. I was just supposed to clean a forgotten room in the Vatican's basement. But what I found there wasn't meant for human eyes. Statues that track your movement, texts in dead languages, and an empty display case that looked like something had just escaped. The worst part? The feeling that nothing in there was actually dead. Just waiting. If you've ever sensed there are things hidden in plain sight, smash that subscribe button, obliterate the like button, and share this with anyone brave enough to handle the truth. Drop in the comments. Do you believe some rooms were designed to never be opened? During my 12 years cleaning the Vatican's underground maze, I learned one rule. Some doors scream to be ignored, especially the ones that seem to want you to open them. That winter night, a shift supervisor appeared like a ghost. No paperwork, no protocol. Just pointed at a rusty cabinet and said, "Keys there. Old room. Clean it. Get out." But this key made my skin crawl. The number wasn't on any map. This room didn't officially exist. Yet here was the key, waiting like it knew I'd come. The corridor was rarely used. Damp stone walls whispering secrets as flickering lights guided my path. They seemed hesitant to light the way, like they knew what waited ahead. At the corridor's end, a spiral stone staircase. I counted each step, 43. As I descended, my footsteps sounded muffled, like the space refused to echo. At the end, a heavy wooden door, unmarked, unnumbered. The ancient lock turned easily, like someone had just used it. Then I pushed. The first sensation wasn't cold, it was the smell. An impossible mixture of aged paper, rotting wood, and formaldehyde. The kind of scent your body recognizes before your brain processes the danger. The room was shrouded in dark red fabric, almost black in places. Dim ceiling lights cast shadows that stretched impossibly far. In the center, a smooth stone altar. But what paralyzed me were 5 display cases arranged in a semicircle, thick, reinforced glass, showcasing things, not animals, not statues. Preserved bodies of impossible anatomy. One had eyes sewn shut with gold thread. Another showed bones growing outside its flesh. That's when I noticed the most disturbing detail. The 5th display case was empty. Not broken, not abandoned. Perfectly clean and waiting. For some reason, this vacant space terrified me more than the grotesque specimens surrounding it. Something was missing, and maybe it wasn't far away. Wall niches held humanoid sculptures, each unique, arms outstretched like guardians. The forms were primitive, exaggerated, predating any known art. Something older, something forgotten, just the overwhelming sensation of being watched. These sculptures knew I was there. As I moved between them, hollow eyes tracked my every step. Against the far wall sat a dark wooden table holding stone cylinders with real papyrus scrolls revealing Latin, Hebrew, and unrecognizable languages. Beside them, a worn leather notebook filled with circular symbols, anatomical drawings of impossible creatures. But one page stopped my heart. It showed the room's exact layout with one difference. In the illustration, the 5th display case wasn't empty. A body lay there, in fetal position with folded wings. The caption read, "Restituendum." It must be returned. The air became suffocating. The atmosphere thickened like oxygen was being drained. I closed the notebook carefully, then saw something that made me freeze. 2 ancient swords with curved blades. One had dried blood on it. Not recent, but not old enough to forget. Someone had touched it recently. This wasn't a storage room, it was a laboratory. Or worse, a sanctuary. And it wasn't closed, just waiting. I stared at the 5th display case again, the empty space. I felt drawn closer and saw something that nearly made me recoil. In the bottom corner, a small aged paper with Latin handwriting, "Expecta, nondum tempus." Wait, it's not time yet. I didn't dare touch the glass, but got close enough to see it was warm, like someone had breathed on it, like something was alive inside before. Or still. Then I heard it. Subtle, muffled footsteps behind me, light steps dragging across stone like something sliding. I spun around immediately. Nothing. But when I looked back at the fifth case, the glass was fogged as if someone had breathed from the inside out. Something glinted on the floor, a metallic reflection between loose stones. A dark metal button with an engraved symbol, 2 intertwined spheres. I had seen that symbol before, on the altar, notebook cover. A restricted access seal that didn't belong to the church, but to something even older. The stone where the button hid had drag marks, like it had been pushed, like something was underneath. I knelt, found the edge, pushed. The slab shifted, revealing a small dark hole with spiral steps. I sat in silence, listening. Then from the depths, a voice, faint, stolen. It didn't sound human, but it said my name. Domenico. The voice said clearly, Domenico. No accent, no distortion, like it already knew me. With my pocket flashlight, I illuminated the hole. I descended counting 32 steps to a narrower corridor. The tunnel ended at a heavy metal door. A circular room, smaller than the red one, but infinitely more disturbing. Walls covered in hand-drawn symbols that seemed to pulsate. In the center, a restraint chair with thick leather straps, scuff marks on wood. Behind it, a glass tank, empty, but with inner walls stained like something had been stored there. Something that had fought. Next to the chair, a mirror. Simple, round, antique. But the reflection wasn't mine. What I saw was someone or something standing behind me, face shrouded in shadow, motionless, watching. I spun around immediately. Nothing. I looked in the mirror again. Now my reflection appeared, but in the bottom corner, a new scratch. The same symbol as the metal button. Everything had been marked. The button, mirror, room, and me. In following days, everything seemed normal, but I knew nothing was the same. I started dreaming about the room, not the creatures, but the emptiness. The fifth display case appeared in every dream with new details. I decided to return to the room. When I pushed open the door, the smell hit me stronger, denser. The fifth case now had a mark. A circular spot in the glass center, like a small hand, had pressed from the inside. An oily impression with 3 fingers and 2 smaller ones positioned wrong, almost like a claw. Scratched into the glass, one word in Latin, testis, witness. On the parchment table, something new. A stone cylinder with parchment partially unrolled. The figure drawn, a tall, slender body. Next to it, a man holding a cleaning cloth. Me. Next morning while shaving, I noticed something in the bathroom mirror that had never been there. A dark spot in the bottom left corner, just like the mark on the display case glass. I touched it. It was on the inside of the mirror. The creatures, display cases, sculptures, mirror, and absence. The fifth showcase was a ritualistic space prepared for something that couldn't be contained. Everything pointed to me as part of the puzzle. On the third dawn, I woke feeling someone was in my room. The sound of wind wasn't coming through the window. It was closed. The sound came from something else. Low noise like nails dragging on wood from the hall mirror. Then I saw it, for a split second. A face. Not mine. Skin thin, grayish like wet paper. Eyes stitched with golden threads. Mouth absent. The thing didn't move, just watched. I blinked. The reflection was gone. But in the mirror, a new mark appeared. Bigger now, with more fingers. It was growing. What had been paranoia now materialized as interference. It wasn't just an entity escaping. It was substitution. Something was taking my place. My routine began fragmenting. I'd lose time, forget conversations. At work, they noticed. My supervisor said I looked tired, maybe should take time off. I returned to the room for the third time. The room was different. Not in layout, but in presence. No longer just a hidden space, it was a crossing point. Sculptures were in new positions, inclined toward center, like they'd moved. The fifth display case. Still empty, but now with an even bigger mark. 5 long fingers marked with grease and soot. On the floor, my cloth from the first cleaning. Dry and folded like it had been carefully replaced. But I hadn't done that. I looked back at the papyrus stand. New cylinder, sealed with red Vatican Apostolic Library seal. Only high-ranking authorities access this material. I took it with trembling hands, opened it. Inside, room lamps began flickering. Display cases trembled. Something said, "Go away." But something stronger whispered, "Stay. Watch." Then I saw it, the 6th display case. A case had appeared where before there'd only been wall. No glass yet, just outline, frame. Inside, footprints identical to mine, but next to them, another set. Deeper, longer, with 3 fingers. What was underneath wasn't dust, it was black salt. I went home. In the drawer where I'd locked the keys, I found folded paper stained with rust. The handwriting was mine, but I didn't write it. We're already outside, and you're the only one who still doesn't understand. Over the next few days, my reflection stopped obeying. Almost imperceptible at first. Delayed blink, slight mismatch. Then differences increased. One day, I saw my reflection was smiling. I wasn't. The smile disappeared when I stared, like he didn't want to be noticed. I returned to the room one final time. The door wasn't locked, lights were on the table. My notebook with something new added, a sketch of me, all exact except one detail. Eyes were sewn shut with gold thread. On the sheet's back, when the container is ready, the contents may change names. I realized maybe what I saw in the display cases weren't just creatures. Maybe they were versions, previous versions, prototypes. The 5th window was never empty. It just hadn't been filled yet. The 6th never existed until I saw it. Space adapts to the observer, and the observer is absorbed. As I write these lines, I know I don't have much time. My thoughts no longer belong entirely to me. Last night I dreamt about the sculptures, but this time, they had names. Each name belonged to someone who'd entered the room, including mine. I woke with dried blood on my palm and 3 fingerprints on my left shoulder. Long ones, cold like claws. If you feel called to investigate, don't go. Not all Vatican corridors lead to heaven. Some lead to mirrors, and what comes out the other side doesn't come back alone. Now that you know about the Red Room, are you sure it's really you who's still looking?